Reclaim your confidence with STL Medical Weight Loss. Are you tired of endless dieting and minimal results at the gym? STL Medical Weight Loss offers a revolutionary program. With their highly effective injectable peptides, these medications have been approved by the FDA for weight loss, and you can lose 20 to 30 pounds in 90 days. Their telemedicine service delivers the medication right to your door, so you have privacy and convenience. Obesity rates are climbing in America. 1 in 2 Americans suffers from this problem. So call STL Medical Weight Loss at 636-628-6604 to book your consultation. And mention Tonja, and you will get $200 off your first 2 months. That's 636-628-6604 to book your first consultation. Mention my name, Tonja, and you will get $200 off your first 2 months. The website is stlmedweightloss.com. Hey, welcome to One Day to Love. I'm here at home, and I just want to keep quiet, sit back, and let you meet my next guest. Kate Linder from Young and the Restless is here. She and I have a lot in common, a whole lot in common. So stay tuned and don't go away. One of my favorite people that I've never gotten to work with is Kate Linder. You know her as Esther on Young and the Restless. And I just want to welcome Kate here today. Thank you so much for being here.
I'm thrilled, Tonja. Thank you for
really
including me.
am so glad to see you. And you know, the show is about dating, and I came up with this because my husband passed away 5 years ago, and even though I had been expecting him to pass because he had pancreatic cancer and he was supposed to go in 5 to 6 weeks, we found something to keep him alive from the UK. Very expensive, all natural serum thing, and it worked. Kept him alive for 4 years. You know. Wow. So every time we thought it was over, he would come back. So people said things like, "Why are you surprised? Why are you acting shocked when he died so suddenly?" Because it was sudden. Because every time we thought it was going to be really bad, he would come back. You know. So this last time, he didn't. And I just lost it, you know, my brain. I felt like I'd lost my mind, you know, it was really, really bad. And I found that nobody talks about grief. Nobody tells you what to expect. And I know that your husband passed away 6 years ago, 6.5 years ago, and that your mother just recently died, which is something I can't even think about. What was that experience like for you?
Well, first of all, you're right, people don't talk about it. And what really gets me is, I'm so sorry, I understand, but they don't understand. And there's no one that understands unless they've been through it. Mm-hmm. I did not expect my husband to pass away. So I found him. And
that must have been awful.
I talked to him on the phone and said, I'll be home in a while. He's saying, what do you want to do about dinner? And I said, I don't know, we'll figure it out when I get home. And I got home and I stayed down, was looking at the mail, stayed downstairs, quite a long time. And then finally I thought, well, what is Ron? What is he doing? So I thought, I better go upstairs and check it out. And it was really hot day, super, super hot summer day.
What month was it?
It's June.
Okay.
It was actually June 19th, and it's a weird June 19th day. It was actually,
Juneteenth.
Yeah. Is when, and anyway, I went upstairs, and it was really hot up there, and I could see he was in bed, and I going, Ron, it's so hot in here. I turn the air on, I go over there, and I go, Ron, and I'm pushing him, Ron. And then I'm slugging him, and, and so I did,
that must have been horrible.
Yeah.
Must have just been horrible. I mean, just
anyway,
You never
I
think
try.
that's it. You like, did they pass out? Are they, what, what? I mean, you wouldn't think that. That would be like the third or fourth thought if you really didn't think.
No, you wouldn't. And I did CPR, and
Right,
then
right.
of course, then I went through the whole thing that I blamed myself because what if I'd gone upstairs and
Earlier,
I had been downstairs? Why didn't maybe I didn't do it right, and
did you
even though
call
I've
the
been
emergency
trained, I
people?
called 911. They got lost. But anyway, I did not expect him to go, and then of course you go through there's so many stages of grief,
That they're
what.
not the ones that we're told about. They're not the ones. Those are for people who are talking to people about grief. They don't go in order
Oh,
like they
you
say.
mean like
Like
going to
Kubler-Ross says
therapy?
that they go in a certain kind of order, but they really don't.
No, well, and everyone goes through it differently. And what really gets me, and you might have found this, is, you say, well, hey, he's been gone, all these years. Aren't you over it yet? And there's no time frame, you know, and you'll find that just something all of a sudden, well, you'll just start crying, and or something triggers it.
And you never know when that's going to
And you
happen.
never know when that's
Yeah,
going to happen. So,
yeah. And
yeah.
did you have children?
I have stepchildren, and then that's a whole nother thing because they've just sort of disappeared. So
Mine did too.
oh,
Mine did too.
see?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. It was
That's,
very terrible. It was
yeah, that
terrible
is very
because I
terrible.
raised them.
Mm-hmm.
They were 9 and 10, and then one was a lot older. But they were little when I got them.
Uh-huh.
But their mother was very much involved. And should have been and was, and that's all good. But when this ended, it wasn't pretty. I think sometimes with blended families, um, sometimes the blending is really healthy,
Mm-hmm.
and the exes are good to the new people, and vice versa. But sometimes it doesn't work out like that,
Mm-hmm.
and the people that pay the biggest price are the kids.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Um, but I know that his other children loved my children,
Well,
and I've been trying to see if we can put that back together a little bit.
that's
And I
good.
think as time goes on, it will
Mm-hmm.
happen
Oh, good.
because I want nothing but the best for them. They're also Jewish,
Mm-hmm.
so I wrote to both of them because of all this stuff that's going
Yeah,
on
that's a whole
now. And
nother.
I was like, look, no matter how you feel about me, I can't believe you're having to go through this stuff. It's just insane.
Mm-hmm.
I really can't believe it's happening. And
I can't either.
and my husband used to say, that there is anti-Semitism in the world, and I was like, no, there's not. Nobody's like that anymore. Nobody thinks that way anymore. And why do you bring it up when we meet somebody? Why do you make sure that they know that you're mushbuka or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Forgive my pronunciation,
That's
but
pretty
they'll be
good.
about, hi, it's mushbuka. I'm like, oh, well, that's cool. And he said, because I just want to know what I'm dealing with. If I got a person that's going to be a person that I want to keep in my life, or somebody that's not going to treat me right. And I said, well, that's like me saying, hi, I'm Presbyterian. I don't say I'm a Presbyterian. I didn't work it into the conversation, but now I understand. I really thought he was crazy for doing that or making sure. I mean, it wasn't like blatant. I just noticed it because it happened all the time.
I think he was right. I think it's always been there. It's just, it was kind of stuffed down, but now someone took the cap off. And so now it's rampant
It's amazing.
and it's
It's
scary.
so
It's, well,
horrible.
it's frightening that the whole world has gone crazy.
Yeah, in so many
So,
ways.
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But back to the grief thing, there was somebody that came to my rescue, a wonderful man, um, who I'd met through different groups I'm involved with back home, and he just showed up and helped me pack and helped me move and
Wow.
cooked. He was an executive chef, really great, really, really
Wow.
amazing person. His wife had just left him and brought her kids out to Northern California. And this is God. This is a God thing, because my banker said, you really should move. You really should sell the house. And I'm like, I don't want to sell the house. And the kids are like, I don't want to sell the house either, Mom, but you can't be in this great big house all by yourself. It was like a 7,000 square foot house, 6 bedrooms,
Wow.
5 bathrooms. Well, that was really one of the smallest houses we'd ever had, because back home you can get a lot of money for that. You know, you don't have to pay that much. I mean, you know, it's a lot less expensive to have a big house back there. Out here, I brought up like $1 million to buy a house in California, and it was a dump. So I was like, okay, well, we're not living in LA. We're not living in LA. So I live in Palm Desert. But anyway, so this man helped me and my kids move here,
Wow.
and that was amazing. And I did choose to live where we used to vacation because I could get a nice place in Palm Desert, you know. But it wasn't a romance. It wasn't a romance. It was a friendship. And I will never forget that. Did you have any angels like that come to
Well,
help you?
I mean, fortunately I have friends, you know, but it's funny that you bring up moving because that's the first question people ask. Well, where are you going to go? Well, I don't know where I'm going to go. And they always say, don't make any,
Decisions the
rash
first year.
decisions the first year when they're right, because you're dealing with emotions and stuff. But I'm still not making the decision. There we are, 6.5 years later, and people keep saying to me, you have to move. And now, and I don't want to move. And so I have the same
If I
thing
could have
as your
kept that,
kids.
if I could have kept that house and gotten a place here, I would have done that.
It's just,
It was wonderful memories, and I didn't like selling that house.
yeah.
And COVID happened right after.
Right.
Right. So
Yeah.
that house would have sold for twice what I sold it for, because everybody in New York City was moving to Connecticut.
Oh.
Yeah. So hello, 3 months
But,
later.
honey, things
Happen for a reason. Exactly.
And they say that, and I always go, yeah. But I think they do.
Yeah.
We don't know why sometimes. Then we find out later, oh, that's why that happened.
Did you go on any dating sites, or did anybody try
No,
to fix
everyone
you
was
up with
trying to.
anybody?
No, because like I'm shocked when you say I've been Rosalind Gunn 6.5 years. I go, wow, and so I didn't. Okay, here first of all, I didn't, because I thought I can't go on. It's Kate Linder. Well, I can't go on these sites, so I didn't, and I thought, well, I can't do that. Then there was a site that, professional people are, and I did do that, but I didn't finish filling. They accepted me and everything.
But you didn't finish.
But I didn't finish filling it out. So now I think it ran out or something. I don't know.
I hope you're not still paying for it, because they keep charging you and charging you and charging you.
Yeah, so I went, well, I guess.
Double check that.
I guess
when you
I'm
get
not
home.
supposed to be doing this, because I never filled it out. And I just did. I didn't do that.
Yeah.
And so I think, sometimes you just you have to put yourself out there. And I think sometimes it's good to maybe meet someone, or if you know someone that's in the same position
Yeah.
as you. There's widowers, and
Maybe there's a Widowers Anonymous.
oh,
There
that
should
would
be like a
good. Maybe
Widows
you and I
Anonymous.
should
What
start
about?
one.
We should do that. Because there's also something about that particular situation. It's different than a divorce.
But right, because
Way different.
Because and that's happened where I've known people that, a lot of my friends that are in the same position, not only women but men, and then you have a lot that you have in common, and then you can talk to about, and you can still. The great thing about it is that you can still talk about your spouse, and the other person isn't going to get upset,
Right.
because they're in the same position.
So I wanted to ask
Yeah.
you about The Golden Bachelor.
Oh, yeah.
What did you think of that?
I thought it was great.
I did too. Wasn't it
some people
fabulous?
go, what are you, nuts? In fact, I thought, well, I can't go on that show. I thought
Everybody wants me to go on too. We should
You
go on
should
it
go
together.
on.
Yeah, it'd be so much fun. I think it'd be so much fun.
you'd be great.
I don't know.
Oh, you should go on.
I don't know. I wouldn't want to lose.
Well, you
I don't
wouldn't,
wanna
because you're
lose.
so perfect.
Yeah,
You wouldn't.
there were so
but you
many beautiful women
but you
on there.
wouldn't lose, because you would win in other
Oh,
ways.
come on, Kate.
Yes, you
either
would.
walk away with the guy
No.
or you lose.
No, you don't. Because then what if you didn't walk away with the guy, but then they loved you so much, then you became the Golden Bachelorette?
Well, that could happen.
You don't know.
That could happen.
You
if they're
have-
going to go that way, that
You
could
have to
happen.
put yourself out there. It's like the thing is you have to make yourself go. Like, let's say, I don't even know how to play pickleball, but if I did,
Yeah. I took
let's,
one lesson.
I don't even know how to do.
Really easy.
Is it?
Yeah,
Well, maybe
it's really
I used to play tennis, but anyway.
Oh,
But
if you could play tennis, you would kill at
no,
pickleball.
no, I wasn't good.
Yeah, believe me, I'm not. I don't play tennis at all.
But
I
if you
did
go to those places and if you need to put yourself out there, I never, I think then you do, and then before you know it, maybe something happens. If you don't put yourself out there,
No, I've been willing to do that for the past year and a half, and it's been okay.
Okay.
But it's still awkward. I still prefer to talk to people that live in Florida, that live in Texas, that live far away, so that it's not right in my backyard. And I don't know why. I don't know
okay.
why.
But maybe right now that's
That's
okay.
about it for me.
But that's okay.
That's about it for me. I also have a tendency to give up my career, give up my life, give up my everything when I fall in love with somebody.
Well, I don't do that. See,
Yeah.
for me, and that would have to be someone that understands it because my career comes first.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I
I
mean,
didn't
not
get
that
married
the
till I
person-
was 37 years old. So, my first child I had at 38. I was ready to move, move on with that part of my life. So, but on the Golden Bachelor, wasn't that like incredible?
Yeah, it was
Like
great.
the women were really sincerely looking for someone to love them and to have that in love experience, that we've had
Because
before.
we all need that.
Yeah.
Especially those people had good marriages and good experiences, or otherwise they wouldn't want to be
In that situation. Yeah.
So that's actually a compliment to their
To
spouse.
their previous spouse.
Yes.
Absolutely. And I felt that way too.
Yeah.
But I did think that some of them had had bad relationships.
Yes.
And it felt like that interfered a little bit, I think.
I think you're right.
Yeah. I just, one of them had bad luck with this and bad luck with that.
Yeah.
And everybody's had bad relationships, including me. But to still have love for the person that's no longer here, no matter what happened, even when things were bad, even when things were awful, and you got through it together. It's not like it was a bed of freaking roses in my life.
Mine either.
Okay,
No one
but you
did.
stay and you work through things like that, and you don't leave.
That's right.
No matter what, you don't leave. And that's who I was, and that's who Ed was with me. He left 3 other people before that, but
Well, he just hadn't found the right one.
that's what we said, yeah. But I mean, it wasn't easy, But the commitment and the love in my soul for this man was it, and I knew it was the same from him. Nobody had ever loved me like he did. Nobody. And I dated half of California.
Not quite half, I don't think.
LA. No, when you're single from 1980 to 1997, you date a lot of people. You don't have relations with a lot of people necessarily, but you date a lot of freaking people, right? So, like, I would watch TV with my kids, and I'd be like, oh, wow, I remember I went out with that guy.
Oh, really?
That's what she did. They would laugh at me all the time. It was all the time. But that's what happened because I was young when I got here. It just happens, So when I saw these women that were hurt by divorces, I just wondered, and I'm going to talk to people about that on the show, like how does that get in your way, But I really think that the ones that had lost their husbands, especially like Teresa, for instance, there's a special connection that they had because they'd had that experience with 2 different people, obviously, but they'd had that shared experience. Didn't you think?
Oh, I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, they both had that.
Right.
Well, he had a really good relationship with his
Yeah.
wife that had passed away.
And then when they put the families together,
Yeah.
wasn't that like fairy tale land?
Yeah.
I didn't really believe that too much. Because it's like here's your mom replacement, and here's your dad replacement. Well, it's not, but that's what it feels like to the children, and that's not an easy thing. But these kids put their families in the show, put their parents in the show.
Oh yes, they said, hey, you need to.
Yeah, Daddy, you need to be on the show. So I
Yeah.
thought that was
Yeah.
a cool thing.
That was very cool.
Did you watch the wedding?
I haven't gotten to see it yet. It was.
I didn't know it was down the street from my house
Oh yeah.
in La Quinta.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
I know. I would have gone down there in a minute if I'd known it was down there. And it turns out that my girlfriend Nancy, we went out on a boat in South Carolina, and I went to the marina, and we went out on this boat together. She and I, we had the best time. We're really good friends from Connecticut. And so she called me up a few weeks ago, and she said, the person on the Golden Bachelor, whose name is Teresa, her son was the guy that set our boat up, that we went out on that boat. And I said, wow. And she said, and I can't know anything else about it. So I don't know if she's in the finalists. I don't know if she's one of the, I don't know how it's going. And they can't say anything. And they really, really can't say anything because I know this guy real well, can't tell me anything. So finally, when it was time, and we knew that she'd won, I said, well, you've got to get her to be on my show. You've got to get her to be on my One Day to Love. You've just got to do it. And so she hasn't done it yet, but we're working on it. But if I had known that she was going to be in La Quinta, I would have been down there with a microphone and, I would have done that, but I didn't know. But it was a beautiful show. I think people want to get married today.
I think you're right. I think that, fortunately, that seems to be coming back.
Doesn't it? It really seems like that. I think these Bachelor shows have helped to that.
And also, I think COVID helped with it.
Do you? How's that?
Because, I don't know, this sort of happened for me. I started thinking, I don't like being alone. And I don't want to be alone. And then something like that happens, like COVID, and you going, wow, what do I do? And so I think that opened my eyes to maybe say, maybe it's time. Maybe you should be in a relationship. Then I started thinking, when you get married, this has popped into my head. This is crazy. You get married and they say, till death do you part. Okay. So then I said, well, then I guess it's okay. Because you say in the beginning, well, I'm doing something against Ron, but you're really not.
It's a weird feeling.
It's because it's like you're being disrespectful to him.
Yeah, but clearly that's not.
But that's not. And then I started thinking of those words, and I thought, wow.
That's why they say it.
Yeah.
That's why they say it.
And
we did that. And we did that.
And we did. Both you and I did. So
high five, sister. So we need to go out and find whoever the person is next that God wants us to find. So we'll just keep our eyes open. But
I think you have to leave yourself open.
Yeah.
And like I said, you have to. I do these Sunday messages every Sunday.
Tell me about that. I wanted to ask you about that real quick.
Actually, I started it during the pandemic. That's when I started. So this last Sunday.
Is this Instagram so people know?
Yeah, so you can find it on my Instagram, just Kate Linder YR. And I'm also now I started putting them on TikTok too.
So Kate Linder YR at what? Instagram?
Well, it's on Instagram. If you're
it's on
Instagram.
Okay.
And then on my Facebook, if you go to my website, which is www.katelinder.com, it's all right there. You can just click on it.
Okay.
Twitter, Instagram. Well,
You're good. You're good.
So
it's not that easy when you get to be a little bit older than 40.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me the other day if I could attach a photo and send it to so and so.
I
got to call my kids.
I don't have anybody to call, so I go.
Call me. I'll call my kids.
Okay. Okay, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. But I started doing this when the pandemic started, and so this last Sunday. Well, okay, so this Sunday coming up will be 199. I've never missed a Sunday. So that's 199 Sundays since the pandemic. That's how long. That's how I know how long
it's been.
Ago it's been. And I keep them really short, just about a minute, and try to do something, inspirational or positive. And people go, "Wow, you're so positive." And truly, I'm doing it a lot for myself too.
Yeah.
So that I can hear myself doing that. Mm-hmm. And at the end of them, I always say these two things. Don't forget to take care of each other, and especially don't forget to take care of yourself. Because we have to take care of ourselves. No one else is going to do that for us.
That's a wonderful way to wrap this up. But I do want you to come back.
I'd love that.
And let me tell you
anytime.
why. There's so many other things I want to talk to you about that we haven't talked about.
Okay.
So we have to do this again.
I'm in.
All
Whenever
right.
you need me, I'll be here.
You have a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame now, which is huge. We have
I
to talk
can't
about
believe it.
that.
I have to go there periodically to make sure it's still there.
So what's the address?
It's 7021 Hollywood.
7021 Hollywood Boulevard. Okay.
Not that I don't know the address.
Oh, it's all right. It's all right. I'd know if it was mine too. I'd know where it was. What the heck? But I want to talk to you about Jeannie Cooper. I want to talk to you about just everything. So you'll come back.
Of course.
Okay.
Anytime.
Fantastic. Okay, well, that was Kate Linder. She's the greatest. So don't forget to watch her as Esther on Young and the Restless. And she's just done a crossover on The Bold and the Beautiful. So we'll see if that happens again. It probably will.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, I bet.
Super great.
Thank you. We'll be right back.